My name is Leah Morgan. I'm 32 years old, a neonatal nurse, a wife of 6 years, and until 3 weeks ago, I thought I knew what betrayal felt like. I thought I'd lived through the worst of it when my husband forgot anniversaries, stayed out late for meetings, came home smelling like perfume that wasn't mine, and told me I was paranoid. I was wrong. So wrong, because nothing compared to what I heard while lying silent, motionless, trapped inside my own body in a hospital bed, listening to the man who vowed to love me tell the doctor to let me go. And then hearing the nurse whisper the truth that changed everything. Before I get into this nightmare, let me warn you, if you think you know someone, if you think trust is enough, if you think my partner would never, please hear my story. I thought the same. I was just as naive. And what happened to me could happen to anyone. But let me take you back to where it began, before the IV lines, before the ventilator tube, before the coma, before the day my entire life was split into, before and after. I met my husband, Daniel, when I was 24. He was 28, already climbing corporate ladders like he had rocket fuel in his veins, sharp suits, sharper smile. The kind of man who could charm a room just by walking into it. I fell hard, fast, and he made me believe he fell just as hard. He used to leave notes in my locker at the hospital. My beautiful lifesaver, he called me. He brought me coffee at 5 a.m. before my shifts. He asked about every baby I cared for like their stories mattered to him too. For a long time, Daniel made me feel safe, seen, loved, or at least he knew how to pretend. We bought a house in the suburbs. We tried unsuccessfully to start a family. We had Sunday brunch traditions, matching coffee mugs, Christmas photos in ugly sweaters. The whole picture, perfect life. But somewhere along the way, tiny cracks started showing. Daniel became distracted, secretive. His work trips doubled. His phone never left his hand. He changed passwords he'd never cared to protect before. When I asked about it, he said, "Leah, you're overthinking again. You do this. You spiral." He had this way of saying it, this soft, patient tone that made me question my reality. I thought maybe I was sensitive. Maybe I was stressed. Maybe nursing burnout was messing with my head. I never imagined the truth was so much uglier. The night everything changed was a rainy Thursday. I'd worked a double shift, exhausted beyond reason. On the drive home, visibility was awful, dark sky, heavy rain, slick roads. I remember gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles went white. I remember yawning. I remember seeing headlights and then nothing. Just darkness. Black, silent, terrifying nothing. When consciousness returned, it didn't come back gently. It slammed into me like a freight train. I became aware of beeping, a rhythmic hiss of a ventilator, cold sheets, a stiff neck, pressure in my throat, pain blooming everywhere in my body like wildfires. But worst of all, I couldn't move. Not a finger, not a toe, not even my eyelids. I tried to scream, but the sound stayed trapped in my skull. I was alive. I was conscious. But I was locked inside a body that refused to obey me. It took me hours, maybe days, to piece together that I was in a hospital. Machines were keeping me alive. Doctors were talking over me. Nurses were adjusting tubes. People I loved came in and out, touching my hand, talking to me like I wasn't there, because they didn't know. No one knew. Everyone thought I was in a coma, trapped, paralyzed, helpless. And then came the moment that changed everything. I heard the door open. Then Daniel's voice, low, heavy, exhausted in a way that didn't sound quite real. Doctor, can we talk candidly? He asked. The doctor's shoes scraped the floor as he stepped closer. Of course. What's on your mind? Daniel exhaled shakily. It's been weeks. She hasn't responded to anything. No eye movement. No motor function. The EEG barely shows activity. I don't want her to suffer. My heart dropped. No. Mr. Morgan, the doctor said gently, these decisions take time. But if you're asking whether withdrawing life support is medically reasonable in cases like your wife's, yes, it is considered an option. No. I screamed in my mind. I tried to move, tried to make a sound, tried to twitch a finger, a lip, anything. Nothing. Daniel's voice broke. I think she'd want me to let her go. Lie. That was a lie. We had talked about this before. She saves babies for a living. Daniel had said she'd never want to live hooked to machines. Another lie. I'd told him explicitly that I wanted every chance to fight. The doctor sighed. We can schedule a family meeting tomorrow to discuss next steps. I heard the door open again, footsteps, softer ones. A woman's voice, a nurse, or Mr. Morgan. She whispered cautiously, before you make any decisions, there's something you need to know. Her voice was different from the others, lower, tense, like she was telling a secret she shouldn't be telling. And Daniel said, "What is it?" The nurse hesitated. And then, very quietly, words she probably thought I couldn't hear. "Your wife, she's been responding, not much. But something changed last night. Tiny eye movement, not enough for the doctors to confirm consciousness, but enough to make me suspicious." My heart stopped. She knew someone finally knew. Daniel didn't speak for several seconds. When he finally did, his voice wasn't sad anymore. It was sharp. "Cold, you're mistaken," he said. "Leah isn't coming back." The nurse didn't back down. "I'm telling you what I observed. You should know before making choices you can't undo." A beat of silence. Then Daniel said something that turned my blood to ice. "Some things are better left finished." The nurse inhaled sharply. "Excuse me?" But Daniel didn't answer. He walked out, leaving me alone, terrified, and more aware than ever. My husband didn't just want to let me go. He wanted me gone. After Daniel walked out, the room felt colder than before, like every molecule of air had shifted, like his absence carried more danger than his presence. I could hear the faint hum of hospital machinery, the soft shuffle of feet outside the door, but inside me was nothing but a roaring fear that drowned everything else out. Some things are better left finished. Finished. He didn't say accepted. He didn't say understood. He didn't say grieved. He said finished. As if my life were a task, a burden, a box waiting to be checked off. My brain screamed again inside its prison. Move, move, mo-v. But my fingers stayed stone still, my eyelids heavy and unresponsive, my throat silent behind the breathing tube. I knew what Daniel meant. He wasn't grieving. He wasn't heartbroken. He wasn't letting me go out of love. He wanted me dead. And for the first time, I truly felt how vulnerable I was and how close I'd come to disappearing forever. The nurse who had spoken up, I later learned her name was Nurse Amina, stayed behind after Daniel left. I heard her take a shaky breath, the kind someone takes when they're debating whether to speak up again or stay silent. Finally, she stepped closer, her voice soft but firm. "Lee, if you can hear me, I'm sorry you had to hear that." My entire body burned with wanting to respond. I tried everything, wiggling toes, tightening a muscle, screaming inside my skull. But nothing came out, nothing showed. Amina gently adjusted my blanket. Like she was trying to give comfort she wasn't sure I could feel. "I've seen patients like you before," she whispered. "Sometimes it takes time for doctors to recognize awareness. But I trust what I saw." Hope flickered in me. Tiny, fragile, but real. Then her voice lowered further, and I sensed her leaning close to my ear. "And for your sake," she whispered, "I'm going to keep an eye on your husband." My heart thudded hard inside my unmoving chest. She knew something was wrong. She felt it. I wasn't imagining it. She stayed a moment longer, writing something on her chart, then left the room, closing the door with a soft click that sounded like a promise. For the next hour, I lay there alone, replaying Daniel's words, the coldness in his voice, the way he insisted I wasn't coming back. My mind kept looping through the days before the crash, looking for clues I'd missed, signs I ignored. And there were so many. It had started 4 months before the accident. Daniel came home later and later from work, always with new excuses. Client meeting. Investor dinner. Unexpected emergency at the office. He'd stopped kissing me goodnight. Stopped asking how my day went. Stopped touching me like I mattered. One night I walked into his office at home to ask if he wanted dinner, and he slammed his laptop shut so fast the sound startled both of us. He forced a smile. "Just work stuff," he said. "Confidential." But the guilt was written all over him. Right there, plain as day, I ignored it because that's what love, real, stupid, blind love makes you do. You protect the idea of someone long after the person has changed. Then the strange withdrawals from our joint account started. 400 here, 600 there, sometimes Thursday's 200. He always had an explanation ready. A surprise investment opportunity, a gift for someone at work, a membership renewal, lies, all lies. 2 weeks before the accident, I found a hotel receipt in his jacket pocket. 2 people, king room, charged to his card. I confronted him. He put on his usual calm, patronizing tone. "Baby, seriously, you know I book rooms for clients sometimes?" The receipt said romantic suite. He claimed it was a printing error. And like a fool, I wanted to believe him. I let him kiss my forehead. I let him pull me into his arms. He said, "I love you." And I clung to those words like they still meant something. Looking back, I should have run. But instead, I tried harder. Cooked nicer dinners, left him sweet notes in his briefcase, planned a weekend getaway. He canceled the getaway with a text. Something came up. Something. Or someone. Now, lying in a hospital bed, unable to move, listening to machines breathe for me, the truth finally settled over me. Daniel didn't want a marriage anymore. He wanted an exit, and I was his exit. Around midnight, the hallway became quiet. The rush of day, shift commotion faded into nighttime stillness. I heard the door creak open again, soft, tentative. Amina. She must have been on night shift. "Hi, Leah," she whispered. "It's me again. I want to do a quick neurological check." "Okay." Her hands were gentle, practiced. She lifted my eyelids, checked my pupils, shined a light. Then she paused. Do that again?" I didn't know what she meant. What did I do? Then she touched the corner of my eyelid and I realized it had twitched. Barely. Just a flutter. But it was movement. My whole mind surged with hope. "Come on," she whispered. "Do it again for me." I gathered everything inside me, all of my fear, anger, desperation, and pushed it toward that tiny muscle. My eyelid fluttered. Again, barely there, but unmistakable. She gasped softly. "Oh my God." Her hand covered mine, not squeezing it, but just resting there, warm and steady. I think you're in there. My heart soared and then plummeted just as quickly because of her next words. I don't think your husband wants us to find that out. I wanted to scream, yes. Yes, you're right. Yes, he wants me gone. But I couldn't. And that helplessness, knowing the truth, needing help, but trapped, nearly suffocated me. Amina checked the hallway. Door cracked open, then closed it quietly. There's something off about him, she whispered. The way he watches the monitors, it doesn't look like concern. It looks like waiting for me to die, for an easy way out. She pulled out her phone and lowered her voice even more. I shouldn't tell you this, but tonight I overheard him on the phone. He said, if the doctors don't make a decision soon, I will. Every inch of my skin burned with fear. She continued, I don't know what that means yet, but I'm not leaving you alone during his visits anymore. Not after what I saw. She squeezed my arm gently, promising without words that she was on my side. And then she whispered, if you're really conscious, I'm going to help you. Prove it. That was the first moment since waking trapped in my body that I believed I might survive this, because someone else finally knew. Someone believed me. And Daniel had no idea. The next morning came slowly, painfully. Hours passed in a haze of beeps, whispers, shifting footsteps, and the dull ache of a body broken, but alive. I couldn't move, couldn't talk, couldn't even blink on command yet. But inside my mind, everything was racing. I kept replaying Amina's words. I think your husband doesn't want us to find out. You're in there. I'm going to help you prove it. Her belief in me was the only thing keeping me anchored as fear clawed at me from every direction. When the sun finally rose, spilling pale light through the blinds, I heard the morning round begin. Clipboards tapping. Shoes squeaking, voices low with routine exhaustion. Then I heard Amina's voice, quiet but steady. She's showing micro responses, she told the attending physician. Not consistent yet, but present. The doctor, Dr. Harris, a man whose steps were slow and weighty, pulled up beside my bed. Let's see, he said. His fingers gently lifted my eyelids. He ran the penlight test again. Then he touched just under my eye. Leah, if you can hear me, try to blink. I pushed with everything inside me. Nothing. Amina leaned close and whispered near my ear. It's okay. Don't panic. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. We'll try again. But panic poured into my chest all the same. What if the movements from last night were a fluke? What if I couldn't do it again? What if Daniel returned before I proved consciousness? Dr. Harris hummed, noncommittal. Could be reflexes, he said. We'll monitor. Amina pressed her lips together, clearly frustrated, but staying professional. After they left, I lay there drowning in dread. The clock ticked, mocking me with each second that passed. Daniel would come. And now I knew he wasn't coming to mourn. He wasn't coming for love. He was coming to end things. Around noon, the door opened again, but the footsteps were soft, hesitant, almost shy. Then I heard a trembling voice. Leah, it was my younger sister, Emma. Not Nurse Amina, my actual sister, Emma. Her voice cracked as she rushed to my bedside. Oh God, Leah, she whispered, choking on tears. You look so hurt. I shouldn't have waited this long to come. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. If I could cry, I would have. Emma and I were only a year apart, practically twins growing up. After I got married, life pulled us in different directions, but she'd always been my safe place. Her hand slid into mine, warm and trembling. Mom and Dad are flying back tonight. She whispered. They're devastated. Everyone is devastated. They think you're not in there, but I don't know. I don't believe them. I felt like you might still be with us. My heart surged toward her, desperate to reach her. Then her voice dropped lower, like she feared someone might overhear her honesty. Daniel keeps telling us not to get our hopes up. He keeps saying it's time to face reality. She sniffed. He already talked to the doctor about letting you go. Can you believe that? Like you're some obligation he needs to release. I wanted to scream at her. I wanted to shout, yes, EMMA, yes, PLS, I'm style airy. I WROT, ITONO, URTMOY, WILOF, PICC, MIMI. She leaned down and cried softly against my hand, and then she said something that shook me deeper than anything she'd said before. Leah, I don't trust him. Something's off. My soul rattled against my unmoving ribs. She felt it too. She straightened, wiping tears, and whispered, I'm going to be here more. I won't leave you alone with him. I won't. Her promise wrapped around me like armor. But good things in my life seemed to always be short-lived, because just as she kissed my forehead and whispered, I love you, the door swung open again. His voice filled the room. Daniel. And instantly, I felt suffocated. The transformation in him was instant. Oh, Emma, he said warmly, like seeing her was a pleasant surprise. You came early. I didn't realize. His tone was soft, soothing. Fake. Every syllable coded in manipulation. I'll give you a few minutes, she said stiffly, not looking at him. No, stay, he urged kindly. It's good for us to be together for her. I wanted to claw his voice out of the air. Emma placed a hand on my arm, then walked out, politely ignoring his invitation. As soon as the door closed behind her, Daniel's sigh came out sharp, annoyed. Then he leaned close to me again. Lee, he murmured, voice dripping with false sorrow. I'm so tired. I can't keep doing this. I don't want to watch you suffer anymore. The lie in his tone was obvious now that I understood him. He didn't sound tired from grief. He sounded tired from waiting. His fingers brushed my cheek in what might have looked like tenderness to an outsider. But now it felt like poison. And then he whispered something that made my blood curdle. I hope you understand this is for the best. No. And oh, I screamed inside myself, trying again to blink, jerk, twitch, AYTHING, but nothing happened. He stood up, letting out a low exhale. They're meeting with me tomorrow morning about withdrawal options. And I'm going to say yes. Then his voice dropped into something colder than anything I'd ever heard from him. You're not coming back, and it's time I move forward. I felt like I was drowning, trapped, doomed. But then suddenly the door opened again. Amina. Her voice was crisp, cool, nothing like the warmth she used with me. Oh, Mr. Morgan, I didn't realize you were here. We have some vitals to check. It might be best if you stepped out for a few minutes. He hesitated. She didn't. She stepped further in, placing herself directly between him and me, body language clear. He eventually muttered, I'll be back later, and walked out. The door closed. Amina exhaled sharply. He shouldn't be here unsupervised. She looked right into my eyes. Leah, I want you to try something, just once more. For me? She raised her hand slowly. Blink if you can hear me. I pushed harder than last time, harder than anything, and then a twitch, barely a movement, but then another, stronger. Amina gasped, Oh my God, Lee, you did it. UACTULYDIDIT. She squeezed my hand, excitement trembling in her voice. I'm calling the neurologist right now. But before she could move away, alarms began sounding in the hallway, voices shouting, wheels rolling fast, commotion rising like a storm. Amina froze. What's happening? She whispered. Then someone shouted from the hall, Oxiotible, or Om 444, room 414, the room next to mine. A patient was crashing. Medical staff sprinted toward the emergency. Amina took one step toward the door, then looked back at me, torn. I'll be right back. Do not worry. I'm coming back for you. She rushed out, and the moment she disappeared, silence filled my room again. But not empty silence, because I heard footsteps approaching, slow, deliberate. The door handle turned, and someone stepped inside. Not a nurse, not a doctor, Daniel. Back again, and this time I was alone with him. When the door clicked shut behind him, the room felt smaller, tighter, like the air itself turned heavier. I couldn't see him, but I could hear everything. His steps were unhurried, calm, too calm. He came closer, the soft rustle of his clothes brushing my blanket as he leaned over me. Well, he murmured, his breath warm against my cheek. Looks like it's just the two of us now. If I could have flinched, I would have. There was a smile in his voice, not a kind one. He continued softly. Everyone keeps talking about how strong you are, how you always fight, how you might miraculously pull through. He chuckled under his breath. I hope you don't. Not this time. His words were knives. He brushed his fingers across my neck, right where my pulse line was taped. Don't look at me like that. He whispered. You can't, right? You can't look at anything. Inside, I was staring straight at him with all the fury my soul could muster. You have no idea, he went on, how exhausting this has been. Changing my life for you. Rearranging everything because you couldn't keep your car on the road. That's not what happened, I thought. You know it. I know it. He sighed. Doctors keep saying, poor husband, like I'm some kind of hero for showing up. But honestly, I'm just tired of waiting for everyone to accept what I've already accepted. He paused. You are not coming back. Footsteps rushed by outside, voices shouting from next door, someone being shocked, staff calling out vitals. But in this room, his voice was a slow, poisonous drip. I met with the social worker this morning. He said conversationally, like he was talking about taxes. She gave me pamphlets about long-term care facilities. Do you know what it costs to keep you like this for years? He scoffed. Hundreds of thousands. For what? A shell, a body in a bed. He leaned even closer. I'm not doing that, Leah. I'm not throwing my life away because you didn't have the decency to die in the accident. If hatred had a temperature, the room would have caught fire. He straightened a little, shifting his weight. Tomorrow, he whispered, I'll talk to Dr. Harris. I'll tell him I'm ready. I'll say you wouldn't want to suffer, that you made me promise to let you go if something like this ever happened. We never had that conversation, ever. But don't worry, he added, almost tenderly. I'll cry. I'll make it look good. They'll call me brave, strong, a loving husband letting his wife go peacefully. For a moment, silence pressed in around us. Then, in a voice so low I almost thought I imagined it, he added, it'll be easier the second time. My mind stopped. Second time? What second time? He caught himself. Not that you can hear me. He muttered quickly. No one thinks you can. He backed away. I heard him adjust my blanket carefully, like he was playing the loving spouse role for invisible cameras. Then he sighed theatrically. I'll be back later, he said louder in his public voice. I love you, Leah. The door opened, footsteps, closed again. I lay there, trapped, my thoughts spiraling. Easier the second time. Second time, had he tried before? The brakes, the way the car swerved. The mechanic's comment months ago about unusual wear that Daniel brushed off as nothing. Pieces of memory clicked into place like a deadly puzzle. Oh my God. Oh my God. It felt like hours before Amina came back. The code blue must have settled. The hallway noise slowly returned to its usual steady rhythm. She slipped quietly into my room and came to my bedside. Lee? She whispered. I'm back. I'm so sorry I had to leave like that. Are you okay? No. No, I'm not okay. He was just here. He's planning to kill me. He's going to tell them to let me go. She studied my face more closely, then frowned. Your heart rate's elevated, she said softly, checking the monitor. Was someone in here with you? I didn't need to blink to answer that question. The machines were answering for me. Amina exhaled slowly. I thought so. She murmured. I saw him leaving when I was coming down the hall. Her voice hardened slightly. He doesn't look at you the way the others do. Your sister, your parents, when they called, they sound broken for you. He just looks inconvenienced. Bingo. She leaned closer again. Listen, I talked to Dr. Harris. I told him about the tiny movements yesterday and your eyelid flutter this morning. He said he wants to repeat a full neuro exam, EEG, imaging, the works. I pushed for it. Hard. Hope flickered inside me. Thing is, she continued hesitantly, your husband, he doesn't seem thrilled about it. Every cell in my body turned to ice. This was the part of the story you'd think someone was exaggerating for drama, but I swear every word is true. He came to the nurse's station earlier. She whispered. I heard him ask Dr. Harris, is there really any point in more tests? I don't want her hooked up to machines for weeks if there's no chance. Amina's jaw clenched. Dagger. Harris said, well, actually, some of the reflexes your nurse mentioned make me think we should investigate further. There might be more going on neurologically. Then Amina leaned in even closer, her lips practically at my ear, and this was the whisper that changed everything. She said, your husband told the doctor, and I quote, honestly, if you think there's even a chance she'll stay like this, I'd rather you just let her go now. Let her go. Now, she paused, letting the words sink into me like venom and fire at the same time. And then she added quietly, anger shaking her tone, when Dr. Harris mentioned your brain activity looked more promising than he expected for someone in a deep coma, your husband's entire expression changed. She swallowed hard. He looked irritated, not relieved, not hopeful. Irritated. The monitors started beeping faster as my heart raced. You heard that, didn't you? She whispered, realizing my reaction. You can understand me. If I could have grabbed her shoulders and screamed yes, I would have. Amina's voice got even softer, almost conspiratorial. And here's the part no one told him, she said. The truth. She drew in a breath. Your latest scans, they show improving activity, not declining, improving. Your reflex patterns, they're not random, they're purposeful. Every time we run the tests, you react more. She let that sit there for a moment. Medically speaking, Leah, she whispered, you are not gone. You're not even hopeless. You're trending in the right direction. Slowly, but clearly. Tears burned somewhere deep inside me, stuck behind useless eyes. But your husband, she continued, bitterness creeping into her tone, kept steering the conversation back to a quality of life, a financial strain, and how long we're going to keep doing this. He told the doctor, you said last week there wasn't much hope. Why give me hope now? It's cruel. She shook her head. His exact words, "If there's any chance she'll just be a vegetable, I need you to be honest and let me say goodbye." Goodbye. He wanted a doctor to sign my death certificate while my brain fought its way back to the surface. Amina's hand found mine again, more firmly this time. "So here's the truth," she murmured. "Your doctor sees signs you might wake up, or at least be more conscious than we thought. Your husband is pushing him to stop looking, to accept the worst case scenario." She squeezed my hand gently. "And I don't trust him, Leah. Not even a little." The monitor confirmed it. My heart pounded in furious agreement. Amina glanced toward the door, then back at me. "I don't know why he wants you gone so badly," she whispered, "but I'm going to find out. And I promise you this, he is not going to let you go without a fight." She placed her other hand softly on my shoulder. "For now, I need you to do something for me. If you can, if you have any control at all, even the smallest bit, keep trying. Blink, twitch, anything. Give me something undeniable in front of another witness. Once I prove you're in there, he loses his power over your fate." Her belief in me felt like oxygen. She straightened, her voice returning to its usual calm volume. "I'm calling for that EEG and a repeat neuro exam," she said, "with or without your husband's approval. This is about you now, not him." She started toward the door, then paused one last time and turned back. "Oh," she added quietly, and there was something like dread in her voice now. "And there's one more thing." She hesitated, then said, "When I went into your chart this morning, I saw a scanned document added last week, an advance directive." She looked straight at me. "It was signed with your name, witnessed, dated 2 days before your accident." My blood turned cold. "I've seen your signature before," Amina whispered. "That one didn't look like it." She held my gaze. "I don't think you signed it, Lee. I think your husband did. If I could have shivered, I would have. If I could have screamed, I would have shaken the walls. An advance directive, forged, signed with my name, 2 days before the accident, 2 days before I lost control of my car, 2 days before I ended up here, 2 days before Daniel stood in this room, acting like the grieving husband he never was. My entire mind spiraled. He didn't just want me gone. He had prepared for it. Amina's voice was low, gentle, but edged with something: anger, fear, protectiveness. "I'm not accusing him outright," she whispered, "but the timing, the handwriting, the way he talks, none of it sits right." She paused, watching the monitor tick faster as my heart replied for me. "You agree?" she murmured. "I can tell." She stepped closer, her voice now barely audible. "Leah, I think your accident wasn't an accident." The world stopped. It was one thing to suspect it, to feel it in your gut, to replay moments in your mind and see shadows you ignored. But hearing someone else say it, it made the truth real, concrete, heavy enough to crush anyone who wasn't fighting as hard as I was. Amina continued, "I don't have proof, not yet, but I promise you I'm watching him, and I'm documenting everything." The door opened suddenly, startling her. She straightened as Dr. Harris stepped inside with a clipboard. "Leah, we're going to run a few new tests today," he said. "Your nurse mentioned some reflex responses we need to evaluate." Amina stood beside him, steadying herself. The eyelid flutter was more than random, she insisted, and her vitals react meaningfully to conversation. Dr. Harris nodded. "We'll see for ourselves. I'll order a fresh EEG and a full neurological panel." Then he added reluctantly, "Your husband called this morning. He asked again about outcomes, specifically whether prolonged testing is necessary. Amina's jaw tightened. Dr. Harris sighed, lowering his voice. I told him it's standard procedure. But I'll be honest, Leah, without clear proof of consciousness, he legally has the authority to choose whether we continue life support. The words dropped like stones into the room. Heavy, final, frightening. So, he said gently, if you can hear me, if you can understand me, now is the time to show us. He touched the corner of my eyelid. Try to blink. I pushed hard. Nothing. He moved to the other eye. Again? My mind screamed, Movi, Movi, Movi. Nothing. He tested my fingertips, pressing lightly on my nail beds. He touched my knee, my toes, my forehead, each time asking for any sign of response. And each time my body betrayed me. After several minutes, he sighed heavily. All right, he murmured. We'll run the EEG. Nurse Amina, schedule imaging for this afternoon. He placed a hand on my shoulder, comforting, but I felt the undertone of resignation. Then he left. Amina waited until the door clicked shut before leaning over me again. Don't panic, she whispered. Sometimes progress happens in bursts. Your body may not respond on command, but it responds. I know it. My heart monitor beeped faster. Answering her, she squeezed my arm lightly. I'm going to prep for the EEG. I'll be back. She stepped out, and once again I was alone, except I wasn't. It only took a few minutes for the air to shift again, the door opening softly, hesitantly. Not Amina, not Dr. Harris, not a tech. Daniel. Again. His voice was quieter this time. Controlled. Too controlled. I heard they're running more tests, he said calmly as he approached my bed. I talked to Harris. He said something about reflexes. He gave a short laugh. Reflexes? That's what they're calling it. He moved closer to my bedside, his shoes brushing the tiles softly. You're not waking up, Leah, he said. You're not. I know it. The doctors know it. A few spasms don't make you alive. Alive. I wanted to rip that word out of his mouth. He leaned over me, and though I couldn't see him, I could feel his nearness like a cold shadow. This limbo we're in, he whispered. It's torture. For who? For him. Not me. For him, this wasn't love. It was inconvenience. He sighed with a heavy dose of false grief. You were always so stubborn, he murmured. Always fighting for everything. I figured if the accident didn't take you, maybe this would. My mind froze. There, right there. The words he tried to swallow back. If the accident didn't take you. Take you. Like it was meant to. Like it was planned to. He paused for a moment, realizing he said too much, then quickly reshaped his tone. Anyway, he said, clearing his throat, we'll have the meeting tomorrow about whether to continue treatment. He rubbed his hand over his face. I'll decide then. He said it the way someone might say, I'll pick up groceries on the way home. Clinical. Cold. Unattached. He reached down, touching my cheek lightly, in a gesture that would look tender to anyone watching. But his fingers trembled, not from sadness, but from frustration. You have no idea, he whispered, how much easier this would be if you just let go. Let go. Meaning die. Then he said the words that shattered the last fragments of the person I thought he was. I can't build a future with someone else while you're still here. Future. Someone else. My blood boiled. Her. Whoever she was. The woman behind the hotel receipts. The late nights, the hushed phone calls. He straightened suddenly, footsteps backing away. I have a meeting, he said. I'll come by later. Don't make this harder than it needs to be. As if I was doing this to him, the door opened, closed. He was gone. But this time someone else had heard him. A soft gasp came from the hallway. Amina. She stepped in slowly, eyes wide, face pale but determined. She'd listened. She'd heard everything. She didn't speak at first, just looked at me, processing what she'd walked into. Then she whispered, "He's lying to the doctor." Her voice shook with disbelief and fear. And I think she swallowed hard. "I think he's the reason you're here." My heart surged violently, enough to make the monitor beep in sharp warning spikes. Amina hurried forward, gripping my arm. "Leah, listen to me," she whispered fiercely. "I'm not letting him get away with this. I'm going to talk to Dr. Harris. I'm going to push for independent evaluation. I'm going to document every sign of consciousness you give." She took a shaky breath. "And until we figure out what he did to you, I'm not leaving you alone with him again." For the first time since my accident, I felt something new rising inside me. Not fear, not despair. Fight. I wasn't going to die like this. I wasn't going to let him decide my fate. I wasn't going to be silenced, not by my body, not by him, not by a forged signature. I was going to survive. I was going to expose him. I was going to come back. And when I did, he would regret ever thinking I couldn't hear. The EEG team arrived an hour later. 3 people, pale blue scrubs, a rolling machine with wires hanging like tangled vines. Amina stayed beside me the entire time, her hand lightly resting on my arm, not enough to be noticeable to others, but enough to steady me. "All right, Leah," the tech said gently, "we're going to place some electrodes on your scalp. This helps us read your brain activity. It won't hurt." If I could have laughed, I would have. Nothing hurt anymore, not physically. My pain was in the silence, in the inability to speak, in knowing something no one else did. Well, not no one. Amina knew now, and that was the thin thread holding my hope together. The tech began attaching the small, cold stickers to my scalp. Another tech adjusted my pillow. The last one typed into the machine. Amina stood across from me, arms crossed, eyes sharp. "Let me know if you notice anything unusual," the lead tech told her. "I will," she said softly, but her tone carried steel. The test began. Waves of soundless electricity hummed through the room. The machine clicked and beeped, chart lines spiking and dipping across the monitor. I couldn't see any of it, just heard the changes, felt the shift in the room when something unexpected happened. The tech murmured. Amina stepped closer. "What is it?" "It's interesting," the tech said, his tone suddenly focused. "She's not presenting like a vegetative patient. These patterns," he stopped, tapping a line on the screen. "These are reactive waves." Amina's breath hitched. "Reactive to what?" "Speech," he answered. "External stimuli." My heart monitor spiked. The tech's eyebrows lifted. There it is again. When her vitals rise, the EG responds. Amina smiled a small, tight, lipped smile, but one that held victory. "So she's aware?" she asked quietly. The tech hesitated. "I can't say that definitively without a full review. But Leah's brain isn't silent. Far from it." My chest swelled with desperate relief. Someone else finally saw it. Someone under Daniel's influence. Amina turned her face slightly away from the techs and whispered near my ear, "That's it, Lee. Keep fighting." The test lasted 30 minutes. 30 long, exhausting minutes of mentally screaming, "See me. Please see me." When it was over, the team removed the electrodes, packed their equipment, and left the room talking quietly about unexpected readings and neurological anomalies. Once the door clicked shut, Amina leaned close again. "You did it," she whispered. They noticed. "That's the first step." Then her expression hardened. "But your husband won't take this well." A ripple of fear crossed through me. "What he said earlier," she murmured. "About moving forward? Almost about not wanting tests." She shook her head. "He's hiding something. And the more signs of awareness you show, the more unpredictable he'll become." She reached for my hand. "But I'm not letting him near you alone again. Ever." Just then, a soft knock sounded at the door. Amina stiffened. "Come in," she said cautiously. It wasn't Daniel. It was Dr. Harris. He stepped in with a tablet in hand. "Leah," he said, a hint of excitement in his voice. "The preliminary EEG results are surprising." Amina moved aside but stayed close. "There's more activity than I expected," he continued. "More than we documented last week. You're showing cognitive level responses to sound." He paused, then added with a hopeful tone, "Why, may have underestimated your neurological recovery. I want to run additional tests tomorrow, and I'd like your family here for the results." My heart soared. This was it. Proof, a chance. "But," he continued, "I also spoke to your husband about the results," and everything inside me dropped. Amina tensed. "What did he say?" Dr. Harris sighed. "He wasn't pleased." Of course he wasn't. "I explained the findings," he said. "But he insisted reflexes can be deceiving. He thinks we're giving false hope." And he reminded me again about the advance directive, the forged one. Amina didn't hide her frustration this time. "With all due respect, doctor," she snapped, "that document needs to be reviewed. I don't trust it." Dr. Harris frowned. "Nurse, unless you have evidence." "I will," she said sharply. There was a beat of tense silence. Then Dr. Harris said, more softly, "Regardless, I want Leah's sister and parents here tomorrow. The new results should be shared with all of them." Hope flickered again. "And until we have more clarity," he added, "I'm not authorizing any withdrawal discussions." Amina exhaled shakily in relief. Dr. Harris nodded, checked a few monitors, then left the room. The door shut, and for the first time since my accident, I felt a spark of victory. Small, but real. Amina leaned close again. "Tomorrow," she whispered, "your sister will hear the truth." Something warm filled my chest. Safety. Possibility. Survival. But that moment of hope was short-lived, because just as Amina stepped toward the sink to wash her hands, her phone buzzed. She glanced at the screen. Her expression changed instantly, darkened, tightened. She turned the screen toward me. A text message from an unknown number. "Stop interfering in things you don't understand." Amina frowned. "As this?" Another text came through before she finished. "Some patients are meant to go peacefully." She looked at me, horror creeping into her eyes. "This isn't a coincidence." Another buzz. "Stay out of it, nurse." Amina's hands shook as she locked her phone immediately. "No," she whispered. "No, no, no. He's watching me." My heart monitor beeped faster. "He knows I'm helping you," she said. "He knows." She took a long, steady breath. "Okay," she murmured, regaining herself. "If he thinks this will scare me off, he's wrong." She stepped closer, lowering her voice. "But this means one thing, Leah, he's dangerous. And he's not finished." Before I could process the fear clawing through me, the door opened again, and in walked the one person neither of us expected to see yet. My sister, Emma. Her eyes were red, rimmed, her cheeks damp, her hands trembling as she stepped inside. She whispered, "Amina, can I talk to you alone?" Amina hesitated, looked at me, then nodded slowly. They stepped outside. The door closed. And through the thin wall, I heard it, my sister's voice, breaking, shaking, falling apart. "He lied to me," she whispered. "Daniel lied to me." My heart seized. Amina asked softly, "What do you mean?" "He told me Lee had no brain activity." Emma choked. "That she was gone. That the doctors were only keeping her alive for my sake. But Dr. Harris just called me. He said her EEG is improving. Said her vitals respond to voice." She sobbed. "He said she might be conscious." The fear, the fury, the betrayal, it all poured out of my sister in a way I could never do myself. It was never about Lee's suffering. Emma whispered in a trembling voice. It was about him. He wants her gone. She started crying harder. And I think Lee knew, even before the accident. Amina didn't speak. She didn't have to. The truth was finally unraveling. And tomorrow the whole family would know. Tomorrow the real fight would begin. That night, the hospital felt different. It wasn't just the dimmed hallway lights or the hush that settles over medical wards after midnight. It was something heavier, like the whole building was holding its breath. I lay in my bed, listening to every shift of fabric, every beep of machinery, every distant voice. Amina had promised she wouldn't leave me alone with Daniel, but nurses can't be everywhere, and dangerous men, they don't need much time. A few minutes, one opportunity, one moment where no one is watching. That's all someone like him needs. Emma returned to my room after talking with Amina. She wiped her face with trembling hands, then sat beside me and held my limp hand as if it could hold her back. She sniffled. "Lua, I'm so sorry. I should have pushed harder. I should have questioned him from the start." Her voice cracked. "I don't know what's going on, but I swear to you, something's wrong with him. He's not the man you married." My heart ached. If only she knew how deeply true that was. She squeezed my hand softly. "I'm staying the night. They said I can sleep in the family lounge down the hall. I'll be right nearby. I'm not leaving you again." The monitor registered my relief. She kissed my forehead and whispered, "Tomorrow we'll make them see you." Then she stepped out, and for a while everything was quiet, almost peaceful. Until it wasn't. Around 2 a.m., I heard footsteps approaching my door, slow, measured. Not the rushed walk of a nurse, not the heavy steps of security, not the soft tread of a doctor on night rounds. These steps were too deliberate, too familiar. The handle turned. No knock. Just the door easing open, careful not to make noise. My heart monitor spiked instantly. Daniel entered the room. I knew it by his breathing, steady, controlled, like someone rehearsing calm. He didn't turn on the lights. He didn't speak. He just stood there for a moment, the air shifting with his presence. Then he moved closer, each step quiet, but undeniable. He reached my bedside. I felt his hand brush my arm, adjusting the blanket. Then he whispered, barely audible, "You always made things difficult." Cold washed over me. He sat down in the chair beside me, the one reserved for family. His exhale was soft, almost thoughtful. "You're fighting?" he murmured. "I can tell. They said your vitals react when people talk to you." He chuckled under his breath. "I guess you're stubborn even in a coma." A pause, a beat of silence. Then, "That's why I came tonight, to settle things before tomorrow." My soul froze. "Settle things." He leaned close, so close I could feel his breath near my cheek. "You weren't supposed to survive the crash." My heart hammered against my ribs. "And now The longer you stay alive, the worse it gets for me. He let out a small sigh, the kind people make when touching something fragile. I can't let that happen, Lee. The room became smaller, tighter, suffocating. My heartbeat beeped faster, warning, pleading, screaming. Shesh, he whispered. It'll be quick. He reached for something. I could hear the faint rustle of fabric, the soft clink of metal. Then the overhead lights flicked on. Bright, blinding, harsh. Daniel jerked back. A voice snapped from the doorway. What the hell are you doing, Amina? Her voice wasn't soft now. It was sharp, commanding, protective. Daniel straightened instantly, tone shifting into fake concern. Jesus, you scared me, he said, hand on his chest. I was just adjusting her blanket. No, Amina said firmly. You were not. He turned toward her slowly, his voice turning icy. Are you accusing me of something? I'm saying. She replied evenly, that visiting hours ended 2 hours ago. Families can stay, but only with permission. And you didn't check in. So again, what are you doing here? He smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. I'm her husband. I don't need permission. Amina stepped closer. I asked you a question. The silence that followed was thick and dangerous. Finally, Daniel forced a laugh. You nurses are so dramatic. I came to say goodnight. That's all. Amina didn't move, didn't blink, just stared him down like she could see through every one of his lies. After a long moment, she stepped forward and pressed the call button. Within seconds, another nurse appeared at the door. Yes. Amina didn't look away from Daniel. Escort Mr. Morgan out, please. He'll need to sign in tomorrow during normal hours. Daniel's jaw tightened. You can't make me leave. Amina tilted her head, voice deadly calm. I can, and I am. He glared at her, then back at her. Finally, he exhaled slowly. This isn't over. Amina's voice was ice. No, it's not. He walked out, shoulders stiff, leaving the air thick with tension. The second nurse followed him down the hall. Amina turned back to me, and this time, there was no attempt to hide the fear in her eyes. Leah, she whispered. He wasn't adjusting your blanket. Her voice trembled. He had his hand on your ventilator line. Cold terror shot through me. He was going to tamper with it, she said, shaking. He was going to cut off your oxygen. The monitor beeped rapidly again, reflecting the panic exploding inside me. Amina grabbed my arm gently, grounding me. Listen, I already spoke to the supervisor. He's barred from entering your room without another nurse present. Security has been notified. Her voice lowered, and I'm staying with you tonight. I don't care if it's against protocol. She sat down beside my bed, folding her arms protectively. You're not dying on my watch. Not by accident and definitely not by him. She brushed a loose strand of hair behind her ear, sighing deeply. I don't know what he's so scared of, she whispered. But tomorrow, when your family sees the EG results, he'll lose control of this situation. Her voice softened. And when that happens, Leah, he will make a mistake. She squeezed my hand gently, even though I couldn't squeeze back, and will catch him. I listened to her breathe as she stayed beside me, guarding me through the night. And even though I couldn't move, even though I was still trapped, for the first time since the accident, I didn't feel alone. Morning came slowly. Shadows stretched across the walls. Machines hummed softly. And for the first time since the accident, someone was asleep in the chair next to me. Not Daniel, not pretending, not performing. It was Amina. Her head rested on folded arms beside my bed. She hadn't left, and something about her being there made the room feel less deadly. When my vitals spiked from the sunlight hitting my face, she jolted awake instantly. "Oh, hey," she whispered, rubbing her eyes. "You scared me." She checked my monitor, then glanced toward the hallway. "We made it through the night." She breathed. He didn't get another chance. Her relief was gentle, but her jaw was still tight. She was worried. Deeply. "Okay?" She exhaled. "Today's the day. The neurologist is coming. Your sister is visiting early, and probably Daniel too. But this time, he won't be alone with you again. Not ever." She said that last part like a promise she'd carve into stone if she had to. Around 9:30 a.m., the hallway became unusually busy. Footsteps, carts rolling, hushed voices. Something was happening. Amina straightened. "That's the EG team," she said. "We're confirming your brain activity today." She lowered her voice. "And once your family sees it, everything changes." The technicians wheeled in equipment, electrodes, monitors, wires. Amina supervised every step like a guard dog. The lead neurologist, Dr. Sawyer, tapped something on his tablet. "Once this is attached," he said, "we'll be able to determine cognitive response and level of consciousness with near certainty." Amina nodded, her eyes flickering toward me. Dr. Sawyer turned to her. "Has the husband been informed?" Her jaw clenched. "He'll be told," she said. "But I want the family here first." He raised an eyebrow but didn't question it. It took 20 minutes to attach everything. Another 10 for calibration. Then the test began. The room dimmed, a series of soft tones and lights flashing near my eyes, stimulus tests. Buzzers clicked. Waves appeared on the screen, a pattern of spikes and valleys. Amina watched the data as if her own life depended on it. "She's responding," Dr. Sawyer murmured, adjusting the screen. "Consistently. Strong neural activity." Amina didn't blink. "So she's aware," she pressed. He nodded. "She's absolutely aware." Her exhale trembled, relief mixed with vindication. Then the door opened. Footsteps. A soft gasp. Jennifer. She hurried inside, eyes already filled with tears as she rushed to my bedside. "Oh God, Leah." Her voice cracked. You look better today." Amina hugged her briefly, then stepped back. "We have results," she said. "You'll want to hear this." Jennifer's eyes darted to the EG screen. "What does it mean?" Dr. Sawyer folded his arms, clearing his throat. "Your sister isn't unconscious," he said gently. "She's experiencing locked-in syndrome. But her cognitive function, it's intact?" "Fully intact." Jennifer covered her mouth, sobbing quietly. "She's in there," Amina whispered. "She's been here the entire time." A sound tore from Jennifer's throat, something between a cry and a prayer. She leaned close to me, her hands trembling. "I'm so sorry," she whispered. "I'm so sorry you went through this alone." My heart rate rose in response, and she gasped. "You reacted," she said, eyes wide. "She heard me? Did you see that? She heard me?" Dr. Sawyer nodded, jotting notes. "She did. That was a clear, purposeful spike." Jennifer brushed my hair back with shaking fingers. "Leah, I'm here now. I'm not going anywhere." Hope wrapped around me like a blanket, warm, grounding, real. For once, something good was happening, something that didn't involve fear. But that moment didn't last, because someone else arrived. The door swung open. Hard, too hard. Daniel. Amina stepped between him and the bed instantly. "You need to wait outside," she said. He ignored her, his eyes fixed on the EEG screen. "What's going on?" he demanded. Jennifer stepped forward sharply. "You need to leave." Daniel's eyebrows lifted in manufactured confusion. "Why?" I'm her husband. Jennifer's voice dropped into a cold razor edge. You lost the right to say that. He looked at Amina, then at Dr. Sawyer, then finally at me, as if scanning for someone who still believed him. But no one in the room did. What's this equipment? He asked. The neurologist spoke clearly, professionally. No emotion, just facts. We're confirming that your wife is conscious. Daniel's face twitched. What? She can hear us, Dr. Sawyer said. Process information. Respond to stimuli. Amina folded her arms, watching him closely. Jennifer took a step forward. She's been awake, Daniel. She hissed. Awake while you. Amina gently touched her arm, signaling her to stop. Not yet. Daniel's throat bobbed as he swallowed. He tried to smile, tried to look relieved. That's wonderful news, he managed. Thank God. I've been praying for this. Amina's eyes narrowed dangerously. Dr. Sawyer glanced between them, sensing tension. We still need to run additional tests, he said. But the results so far are... Daniel cut him off. Can I have a moment alone with my wife? No, 3 voices said at once, Amina, Jennifer, and Dr. Sawyer. Daniel blinked. Just a moment. Absolutely not, Amina said flatly. And from this point on, Mr. Morgan, you will not be left alone with her at any time. Hospital policy. His jaw tightened. That's ridiculous. I'm her husband. Jennifer took a step closer, eyes blazing. You're the last person who gets to decide what's ridiculous. A silence spread, cold, sharp, vibrating with danger. Daniel inhaled slowly. Fine, he said. If you want me gone so badly, I'll come back later. He turned to leave, but just before he stepped out, he placed one hand on my bed rail. His thumb brushed the metal lightly, nothing dramatic, nothing suspicious enough to be noticed. But I felt it, that silent message, that promise, or threat. When he finally walked out, Jennifer collapsed into the chair beside me. Amina exhaled shakily. Dr. Sawyer scribbled a note, and the room felt heavier, thicker, more dangerous. Because now Daniel knew the truth. I wasn't gone. I wasn't unreachable. I wasn't disappearing quietly. And that meant one thing. He was running out of time. And desperate men do desperate things. Not outwardly, no. Daniel was too calculating for that. His panic was subtle, silent, hiding beneath carefully controlled expressions and overly practiced words. But Amina saw it. Jennifer saw it. And I felt it. The way he left the room too quickly. The way he didn't ask about my treatment or recovery. The way he didn't look relieved that I was conscious. No husband reacts like that, unless being conscious threatens him. 30 minutes after Daniel left, the hospital suddenly became loud. Rushed footsteps, raised voices outside my door, a commotion of some kind. Jennifer stood up. Amina went rigid. What's happening? Jennifer asked. Amina rushed to the door and peeked into the hallway. Her eyes widened. Oh my God, she whispered. He didn't waste any time. Jennifer's voice tightened. What? Who? Amina closed the door firmly and turned back to us. Daniel. He went straight to the nurse's station and requested a meeting with the ethics board. He's trying to accelerate the withdrawal decision. Jennifer's face drained of color. He knows she's conscious. Amina's jaw clenched. He's gambling that no one believes it yet, and he's counting on hospital protocol to push the decision before we finish the full diagnostic process. Jennifer grabbed the side of my bed, panic shaking through her. Is trying to kill her today? Amina nodded grimly. Yes. Hospital ethics meetings were supposed to be private, structured, compassionate. But the way staff moved in the hallway told a different story. Whispers followed every step. Some nurses glanced at my door with pity, some with suspicion. Amina paced the room, running a hand through her curls. "We need to keep him from getting that meeting," she muttered. "It's the only way he can legally intervene again." Jennifer stepped closer. "What can we do?" Amina started checking the machines, her hands moving fast. "We stall, we delay. We make noise, metaphorically. We make sure enough people know she's conscious so he can't quietly push anything through." Jennifer swallowed. "Do you need me to talk to someone?" Amina nodded. "Yes. The social worker, the charge nurse, and the neurologist. Tell them everything. Don't let anyone move forward with an ethics meeting until Dr. Sawyer signs off on her case." Jennifer didn't hesitate. She rushed from the room instantly, determination replacing fear. Amina turned to me. "Leah, I need you to stay calm," she said softly. "If your vitals spike too high, they could use that to say your condition is worsening." I wanted to laugh. Worsening. My life was actually improving for the first time since the accident. But Amina was right. I forced myself to breathe evenly. Not because I was calm, but because I needed to survive. The door opened again gently this time. Dr. Sawyer. His expression was serious, but not frightened, more like irritated. He took one look at Amina's face and sighed. "He's already making moves, isn't he?" Amina nodded. "Yes." He muttered something under his breath, then approached my bedside. "Leah," he said clearly, bending down so he was eye level with me. "I know you can hear me, and I need you to know something." He paused. "You are not in danger as long as I'm involved. I promise you." My vitals relaxed slightly. "Good," he said. "Now let's talk strategy." He turned to Amina. "The EEG readings are undeniable. Once the full neuro evaluation is documented, he cannot legally touch her case." Amina frowned. "How long until that's official?" He checked his watch. "About an hour more testing. 2 hours to finalize documentation, and I need a witness from hospital administration to sign it." Amina swore under her breath. "He's trying to get the meeting before then."
"Yes," Dr. Sawyer said.
"Which means we need to stall him?" Jennifer went to get backup. Amina said. He nodded approvingly. "Good." Then he leaned closer. "And I have another idea." While Dr. Sawyer set up additional equipment, Amina pulled the blinds slightly so hallway staff couldn't peer inside. Minutes stretched like hours. Jennifer returned breathless. "I talked to everyone," she said. "The social worker said they'd look into it. The charge nurse said they'd review the request. No one is shutting him down." Amina's teeth clenched. "That's because they're scared of liability. If they deny him and something happens to Leah, they're responsible." Jennifer shook her head violently. "But if they approve him, she's dead." "I know," Amina whispered. "I know." Something inside me screamed. My heart rate jumped. "No, no, Leah, breathe," Amina said instantly, placing a steady hand on my shoulder. "I'm here. You're safe right now." Dr. Sawyer looked up. "We need to move fast." He reached into his coat and pulled something out. A laminated card. A hospital protocol card. He handed it to Jennifer. "This is the emergency patient protection clause. If a patient shows signs of cognitive responsiveness, even if minimal, life support cannot be withdrawn until a full diagnostic completion. That supersedes spousal authority." Jennifer's eyes widened. "What do I do?" "Give it to the administrator," he said. "Now?" She left the room again, faster this time. Amina watched her go, then exhaled. "She's terrified," she murmured. "So is Leah," Dr. Sawyer said quietly. Amina nodded, then turned to me. We're not letting him win, she whispered. Not today. Not ever. 10 minutes passed. Then 20. The hallway had grown eerily quiet. Amina's brows pinched. That's not good. What? Dr. Sawyer asked. Quiet means people are meeting. They're discussing something important. My stomach dropped. Jennifer burst back into the room, pale and shaking. They're in the conference room, she gasped. Daniel is with them. They're reviewing the withdrawal request. Amina froze. Oh no, Dr. Sawyer's face darkened. They can't do that without my report. They don't know that, Jennifer whispered. Daniel told them you already confirmed there was no hope. Amina's fists clenched. He lied. Jennifer nodded, and they believed him. A silence fell over the room. Then Dr. Sawyer straightened. All right, he said. Enough is enough. Amina looked at him. What are you going to do? Stop them myself. He grabbed my chart, the EEG printouts, and the emergency clause. Watch her, he said. I'll be back. Amina stepped beside my bed. Her hand found mine again. Leah, she whispered, whatever happens in the next half hour, you're not going anywhere. I'm not letting him take you. Her thumb brushed my hand slowly. You hear me? My heart monitor gave one slow, steady rise. Yes. I heard her. And section 9 ended with that moment. The calm before the storm that would decide whether I lived or whether Daniel got what he came for. The moment Dr. Sawyer left the room, like the air shifted, like the atmosphere before a violent storm, heavy and electric. Amina didn't sit. She didn't look away from the door. She stood tall, shoulders squared, ready for whatever would come through it next. Leah, she whispered, her voice steady, but trembling beneath the surface. He's trying to get ahead of us. He's scared now. Scared people are dangerous. My heart rate climbed. I know, she murmured. Just hold on a little longer. Doctor, Sawyer isn't the kind of man who backs down. But even she didn't fully believe her own reassurance. Not yet. 10 minutes passed. Then 15. Then 20. The hallway stayed quiet. Too quiet. Not a footstep, not a whisper. It felt like the entire hospital was holding its breath. Finally, Jennifer returned, breathless, her hair pulled loose and frantic from running. They won't let me in, she said, gripping the foot of my bed. The conference room doors are locked. I could hear voices, but she broke off, shaking her head. They're voting, Amina. They're actually voting. Amina slammed her fist onto the counter. Damn it. Jennifer's voice cracked. What if they side with him? What if they authorize it? What if... Stop. Amina said sharply. Don't go there. Jennifer looked at her with tear-filled eyes. They don't know she's conscious, Amina. They think this is mercy. And Daniel knows exactly how to manipulate compassionate people. Amina muttered, has been doing it for weeks. She squeezed her eyes shut. He wants her gone before the neuro report is finalized. He knows once Sawyer signs off, he loses all power. Jennifer sank into a chair. This can't be happening, but it was. A sudden noise came from the hallway, a loud bang, then another, and voices raised, arguing. Amina rushed to the window slit in the door and peered out. Oh my God, she whispered. They're fighting? Jennifer stood up so fast her chair toppled. What do you mean fighting? Who's fighting? Amina turned eyes wide. Dr. Sawyer and Daniel. A cold shiver tore down my spine. Jennifer ran to the door, listening through the gap. At first, all she could catch were muffled voices. Then they grew louder. You lied, Daniel? Dr. Sawyer's voice, furious. You exaggerated her condition? Daniel snapped back. You doctors don't want to accept reality? You manipulated staff, you forged verbal consent, and you tried to coerce an ethics decision without full medical data. You said she had no brain activity? Ayanvar said that, and you know it. Then another voice, someone authoritative. Both of you, stop. This is an ethics review, not a courtroom. But someone else, definitely Daniel, shouted back. She's suffering. Keeping her alive like this is cruel. A pause. Then Dr. Sawyer's voice dropped to a deadly calm. What's cruel is what you've done to her. Silence. Heavy, explosive. Jennifer's eyes widened as she turned toward us. They're confronting him, she whispered. Sawyer's exposing him. Amina's shoulders fell slightly with relief. Good. He's finally cornering the monster. But relief dissolved instantly when the next sentence echoed down the hallway. And it wasn't yelled. It was said quietly, coldly. You don't want her to wake up, do you, Daniel? Silence again. A long, terrifying silence. Then a soft sound, like someone's chair scraping back. Then Daniel's voice, low and controlled. You're twisting my words. But Dr. Sawyer wasn't backing down. No, I'm stating the obvious. The next words were almost a whisper. You want her dead. My heart monitor began to spike. Amina noticed instantly and leaned in. Easy, easy. He can't touch you now. Not with the entire board listening. But the voices outside didn't stop. Someone else, maybe a female board member, spoke sharply. Mr. Morgan, is there something you want to tell us? Daniel's breathing could be heard from the doorway. Fast, shaky caught. Then, I've been under stress. He snapped. You think any husband wouldn't be? My wife is gone. She's not coming back? Amina's jaw tightened. Liar, she whispered. But then, the worst thing yet. What do you mean, Mr. Morgan? One board member asked. And Daniel said, she hasn't moved in weeks. She hasn't spoken. She hasn't responded. I've been watching her die slowly and painfully. And none of you know what it's like to hope every day for a miracle that never comes. Jennifer slammed her palm against the wall. Oh, he's good. He's very VRY good. Amina rolled her eyes. He should have gone into acting. He'd have been a star. But Jennifer wasn't laughing. She was crying. What if they believe him? Amina grabbed her shoulders. They won't. Not today. Not after Sawyer tells them the truth. And almost as if the universe heard her, Doctor. Sawyer's voice rose sharply. She IS conscious. Gasps echoed through the hallway. Someone stuttered. What? She's awake, Sawyer repeated. She has cognitive function. She responds to stimuli. And I have the EEG report to prove it. A door slammed, someone jumping up. You withheld this? A voice demanded. I didn't withhold anything. Sawyer snapped. I was conducting tests, and an MVER authorized a withdrawal meeting. And you expect us to believe that? Yes, Sawyer said, because I also have a nurse and the patient's sister who can testify that she responded today. The hallway exploded into chaos, overlapping voices, questions, accusations. Amina's hands flew to her mouth. Oh God, he did it. He really told them. Jennifer burst into tears and hugged Amina tightly. She's saved. Jennifer cried. She's really saved. Amina stroked her back. Not yet, she whispered. But the tide just turned. The arguing grew louder. Then footsteps, fast, heavy, headed toward us. Amina raised her chin and positioned herself protectively beside the bed. Jennifer stood behind her, shaking but resolute. The doorknob twisted, and for a split second, my heart stopped. What if it was Daniel? But it wasn't. It was Dr. Sawyer. He stormed into the room, chest heaving, eyes blazing with controlled fury. Behind him, 2 board members followed, looking shaken. "It's over," he said. Jennifer gasped. What? What do you mean?" He held up a paper, a form with large block letters. ETACS DSD SUSPEN DDPEN DNGFUL EVLUATION. Amina's knees nearly buckled. They stopped the vote. They stopped EVRYTHIG, Dr. Sawyer said. Daniel no longer has decision-making authority until the hospital completes a full investigation. Amina let out a breath that sounded like a prayer. Jennifer grabbed my hand. "You're safe," she whispered through tears. "Oh my God, Leah, you're safe." Amina leaned close to my ear. "He lost today," she murmured, "but he knows it. And that means he's getting desperate. Because when someone wants to kill you and fails, they don't always stop trying." For the first time in weeks, the battle wasn't against my failing body. It was against the man who wanted it to fail. But the moment the ethics board suspended Daniel's authority, the hospital felt different, almost like a battlefield where one side finally realized the enemy was inside the gates. Amina locked the wheels of my bed and moved closer, lowering her voice. "Listen, Leah, he's cornered now. That's when people are the most dangerous." Jennifer tightened her grip on my hand. "He can't do anything now, right?" Amina didn't answer immediately. That silence said everything. Before Jennifer could push again, Dr. Sawyer stepped forward, voice low but firm. "You're officially under protective protocol. That means only authorized personnel can enter this room, no exceptions." Jennifer nodded fiercely. "Good." But I saw the tension in Sawyer's jaw. "There's more," he said. Amina shot him a sharp look. "Don't tell her. She deserves to know," he insisted. Daniel didn't react the way an innocent man reacts. Jennifer crossed her arms tightly. "What did he do?" Sawyer blew out a slow breath. "He didn't get angry. He didn't cry. He didn't panic about your well-being." Amina's voice darkened. "So what did he do?" Sawyer looked directly at me. He smiled. Jennifer staggered back a step. "What?" Amina muttered a curse under her breath. Sawyer continued, voice hardening. He smiled like a man who just thought of a new plan. Cold shivers ran through me. Jennifer pressed a trembling hand over her mouth. "Oh my God." Amina regained control of herself first. "Okay." Then we tightened security. "No one gets in unless I personally approve it." Sawyer nodded. "I'm already working on an emergency transfer to a secure unit." Jennifer frowned. "Secure? Like for dangerous patients?" "No," Sawyer said. "For patients who are targets." Amina finished for him. Victims of domestic danger, abuse, criminal threats. A target. Daniel wanted me dead badly enough that the hospital now considered me a target. Jennifer wiped at her tears. "But how long until the transfer?" Sawyer hesitated. "A few hours." A few hours. Daniel had a few hours. Amina stayed by my side, pacing, checking monitors, double-checking locks. Jennifer stepped into the hall to call our parents. Sawyer left to confront administration about the transfer. The room suddenly felt enormous. Quiet? Too quiet? Every beep of the monitors felt louder. Every footstep outside sounded like it might be him. Amina moved to the blinds, adjusting them again. "You're doing great," she murmured. "Just keep breathing." But even she couldn't hide the worry anymore. 15 minutes passed, then 30. Sawyer didn't return. Jennifer didn't return. Amina checked the hallway again, brows furrowing. "Where is everyone?" Her unease grew. It filled the room like smoke. She paced again. "I don't like this," she whispered. "Something's off." My heart rate rose. I know, she said, stepping close. I know. Stay with me. I'm watching the door. She pressed a hand against the badge reader, confirming the green light remained on, indicating the door was locked from the outside. No one could just walk in. But then, a soft chime. The green light blinked once, then twice. Then it turned yellow. Amina froze. No, she breathed. No, no, no. She ran to the access screen. Someone's overriding the lock. My vitals spiked. Amina slammed her fist on the override button, trying to keep the lock engaged. Stop, stop, come on, don't do this. But the yellow light blinked again, then red. Unlocked. Amina whipped around. Leah, listen to me. If it's him, I'm not letting him touch you. She grabbed a metal tray like it was a shield. My heart crashed against my ribs. Footsteps stopped right outside the door. Slow, heavy, confident. The handle turned. Amina raised the tray. The door opened, and Jennifer burst inside, sobbing, nearly collapsing. Amina dropped the tray instantly. Oh my God, Jennifer, what happened? Jennifer slammed the door shut behind her and locked it manually. He's gone. She gasped. Daniel, he left the hospital. Amina's face twisted in confusion. What? Did security escort him out? No? Jennifer cried. He just walked out, calm, smiling. They didn't stop him. He said he needed air and that he'd be back. Amina swore loudly. Oh, this is bad. This is very VRY bad. Jennifer grabbed my hand again. He left before the police could get here, before they could serve the emergency protection order. Amina ran both hands through her hair, as not going for air. Jennifer nodded, tears streaming down her cheeks. He's going to regroup, to plan, Amina whispered, or to finish what he started. Silence settled, sickening, heavy, suffocating. Amina turned to me. Leah, if he comes back, he won't try to get help or sympathy or approval. She swallowed hard. He'll try to get to you. Jennifer covered her face, sobbing. No, no, this can't be real. Amina steadied her voice. It is. And until the transfer is ready, we're not letting anyone inside this room. She looked at me, eyes blazing with determination. I'll die before I let him hurt you. Jennifer wiped her cheeks and stood. Me too. But even with both of them beside me, even with the locks and lights and alarms, I felt the truth settle into my bones. Daniel wasn't running away. He wasn't hiding. He wasn't giving up. He was preparing, waiting, watching, and the most terrifying part, he wasn't angry. He was calm. And calm people don't do impulsive things. Calm people plot. Calm people plan. Calm people finish what they started. And as the shadows lengthened on the wall beside my hospital bed, one haunting certainty wrapped itself around me like a cold hand. He would come back. And when he did, he wouldn't make the mistake of smiling again. Night fell slowly, but inside my room, time did something strange. It tightened, like a rope being pulled from both ends. Amina dimmed the lights and pulled the curtain around my bed. Low visibility. She whispered, Eve, he comes. He shouldn't see you immediately. Jennifer wrapped her fingers around mine. I'm here, she said, voice trembling. I'm not leaving, Leah. But even as she said it, she kept glancing at the door, waiting for the handle to turn, flinching every time footsteps passed. Amina stood near the door, arms crossed, every muscle coiled and ready. This isn't over, she muttered. He's not done. And she was right, because the world has a way of holding its breath right before something breaks. It started with something small, a flicker of movement through the thin gap at the bottom of the door. A shadow. Jennifer stiffened. Amina stepped closer to the door. The shadow moved left, then right, then stopped. For a full 5 seconds, it didn't move at all. Jennifer covered her mouth to hold in a scream. Amina whispered, someone standing right outside. My heart rate spiked so fast the machines beeped in alarm. The shadow shifted again. Then a slow knock. Not frantic, not panicked. Knuckles tapping twice like someone greeting an old friend. Jennifer whispered, "No, no, please, no." Amina forced her voice to stay steady. "Who is it?" Silence. Then a man's voice, soft and calm. "It's me." Every drop of blood froze inside me. "Daniel." Amina's voice sharpened. "You're not allowed in here." "I know," Daniel said, still calm. "But I need to see my wife." "You are legally barred?" Amina began, but he cut her off. Amina opened the door. His voice wasn't angry. It wasn't loud. It was chillingly level, like someone who had made peace with his decision. Jennifer backed toward my bed, tears running down her face. "Please go away," she begged. "Please, Daniel. Please, don't do this." He didn't respond to her. He only spoke to Amina. "If you don't open it," he said softly, "I'll find someone who will." Amina's jaw clenched. "Security is coming." "No," Daniel said. "They're busy." A cold dread sank deep into my bones. He planned this. He timed it. Amina glanced at the clock and cursed under her breath. Shift change. Security rotation. The one time the halls were thin. Daniel knocked again. "Amina, last chance." Amina stepped back, gripping the metal tray again like a weapon. "You take one step inside," she whispered, "and I swear to God." But she didn't finish, because suddenly ALARM, a red wailing alarm, burst down the hallway. Jennifer screamed. Amina jumped back. The lights flickered once. Twice, then everything went dark. The entire hospital floor lost power, but not the machines. They stayed on. My ventilator, my monitors, all still humming softly. Emergency power. But the hallway, the doors, the locks, they were no longer secure. Jennifer started sobbing uncontrollably. "I cut the breaker. Oh my God, he cut the breaker." Footsteps sounded outside. Slow, deliberate. Then the door handle moved. Amina shouted, "Stop." The door pushed open an inch. Then another, then another. A hand came through the gap. Daniel's voice was soft, almost gentle. "I just want to say goodbye." Jennifer grabbed Amina's arm. "Don't let him in, PLAS." Amina shoved her weight against the door, trying to force it shut. Daniel pushed harder. The door opened another inch. Amina's voice broke. "Help, Somino! Help! Huh!" But shift change meant the hallway was nearly empty. Daniel's voice slipped through the gap. "You should have left things alone, Amina. If she had just gone peacefully." A deeper voice cut him off. "What the hell do you think you're doing?" The pressure on the door vanished. Jennifer gasped. Amina stumbled back as the door was yanked fully open, not by Daniel, by Dr. Sawyer. Behind him were 2 police officers, guns out, flashlights cutting through the darkness. Daniel was on the ground, pinned beneath them, wrists twisted behind his back. One officer snapped cuffs on him while the other read his rights. Daniel struggled once, then froze, staring directly at me. The flashlight beam sliced across his face, his eyes full of something horrifying. Not fear, not regret, hatred. He whispered only one thing as they dragged him away. "You should have died." Jennifer collapsed into the chair by my bed, sobbing in relief. Amina stood frozen for a moment, shaking with adrenaline. Dr. Sawyer shut the door, locked it, and turned toward us. "It's over," he said quietly. Amina sank onto the foot of the bed. Jennifer clung to my hand. And for the first time since the accident, I believed it. They transferred me that night to a secure recovery unit. Armed guards. Badged entry. Restricted access. Daniel was arrested on charges of attempted homicide, medical interference, and endangerment. His bail was denied. A month later, Jennifer sat beside me as the DA visited the hospital. "We're going for full attempted murder," he said. "You'll get justice." And I did. 3 months later, after intensive therapy, I spoke my first clear word, Jennifer. 4 months later, I testified through assisted speech against the man who tried to end my life. Daniel broke down in court, screaming that I ruined everything. The judge didn't blink. He sentenced him to life in prison. I was there when he was taken away, alive, witnessing his downfall, breathing, healing, winning. Today, as I type the final sentence of this story in my new apartment with sunlight warming my face, I know one thing with absolute certainty. He didn't get what he wanted. He didn't win. I did. And I always will. I survived the man who wanted me dead. And I will never be silent again.